Hi, my name is Sume McPhail, and I am the CEO and founder of Weequal School. Weequal School is a project-based, self-directed virtual learning platform. To learn more, go to weequal.school. In this video, I will be teaching you the widget Gesture Detector. Gesture Detector is basically a widget that makes any other widget, a button. There are a lot of buttons you can work with. Um, if you are in Flutter 2.0, elevated buttons, text buttons, there are icon buttons, activity buttons, ghost buttons, a lot of different buttons to work with, but using a gesture detector can give you a lot of flexibility in how you want to design your button and how it fits into your app. So I just have a simple app that is basically just a blank app bar that says home. So we're going to go ahead and run that. Also, by the way, I'm using Visual Studio Code for my code editor, and I'm also not in, I haven't upgraded to Flutter 2.0 yet, so some of the things that I might use they may have switched the name of the widget, in which case it would give you an error. Usually you can figure out what they renamed the widget to just by hovering over the error. So as you can see, all I have is just a simple app bar that says home. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap my list view with a container because I want to make the background black and this app bar black, just so I can show you how you can take how you can use a gesture detector to fit into your UI. So I'm just gonna make this black as well, and just run this. Okay, there we go. So now in this list view, we're first just going to start off with by putting a padding on this container so our button isn't smushed on. Basically what a padding does is it takes puts just a border of space around it, so nothing is just smushed up against the side of your screen. So we're just going to say edge insets dot all, which means this padding is going to be on all sides, and put it at around 15 pixels. I think that'll be good. And we are just going to put a container. And remember, so with gesture detector, you just wrap it around any widget and it'll turn that into a button. So right now, I'm making a container, but this is going to be a button. I'm just gonna put the color on to blue, just because I think that contrasts well with the dark background. And I'm gonna have the child be a text widget that says page 2. So this will go to a second page. And now if I refresh this, you can see there is just a box around this. And so what I want to do is put a padding around it, around this container as well. That might be perhaps 10 pixels. And also use the property decoration. And so then I'm going to call box decoration. And then in here you can do multiple different things. One is the color, which means we're going to take this and put it in here instead, or else it's going to give us an error. And you can also do something called a border. And I'm just going to say border radius. And border radius just tells you how much you want your border to curve. So I want my button to be curved, which is why I'm calling border radius. And then I'm going to say dot circular. Let me set this at 15 and see what that looks like. Awesome. And now I'm also going to take my text widget and perhaps style the text a bit. So this is what I like about using gesture detector. You have a container which gives you a lot of flexibility in UI. So text style, maybe I want to make my font bold, and I can just do that. So now that I have a container, then I can just wrap this in a widget, and this is going to be a gesture detector. And so the main property that we really want to use is just the on tap property. And so many people may be familiar with the on press, which comes with most buttons, but some buttons is just an on tap button. I think that's also goes for icon buttons as well. And so now with this gesture detector, we can basically take this and take it to another page. So let's make a new page. We're just going to call this page2.dart. And then import material.dart, which is the first thing you always want to do when you're working, when you make a new page, because it supplies you all the things you need to make a simple app without any extensions. Now I can say stles, which is making, and then and in case you don't know what I did there, I just wrote stles and then hit the tab button. Now I can name this whatever I want. I'm just going to call this page 2 and make it a scaffold with, oopsies, with an app bar that says page 2. And so this is very simple. And now I'm just going to make it so that the gesture detector takes us to that page, because right now our button does not do anything. So now we will call the widget navigator and then say dot push. Basically what this means is it's pushing the second page to the top of the stack. And so we're going to keep context and say material page root. And it kind of takes a lot of code to switch to another page, but eventually you'll get used to it. And then we're just going to say page 2, and I know you can't see that, but we're just saying, and then like that. So basically, navigator.push, we're pushing the second page to the top of the stack, so that's the page that we're going to see. And then we're calling context material page root, and then we're going to page 2, which is what I've named this over here. If I were to name this something else, I would have to change this as well. Now, if I refresh this, now when I click on page 2, it goes to the second page. Now, there are a lot of other things that you can do with a container button that you wouldn't be able to otherwise. For example, gradient. And so gradient is basically when one color fades into another color, or maybe like a dark blue fades into a light blue. So we can do that with a container as well, which most buttons wouldn't be able to do. So let's say we have colors, and we're just going to start with colors dot blue, and then it's going to end with another blue just as a different shade, and we can delete this over here. So we can say colors dot blue, perhaps 200, and end at 700, and see how that looks. And so now, as you can see, it just fades from a lighter blue to a darker blue. And this might not be something that you want for your app, but that's the point of a gesture detector. It gives you a lot of flexibility in how you want to do things. And for example, you can call the button icon button. But you can also just put an icon inside a gesture detector, but it'll also might give you some flexibility, like perhaps calling a stack, which means that you can stack widgets on top of each other, or and then maybe doing something with that, or calling a circle avatar and then putting the icon in there. There's a lot of different things that you can do with this gesture detector that you might not be able to just by calling another button. So that is Gesture Detector. You can do a lot more things with it than just calling a container, but this I think is the easiest way to customize your button that might give you more flexibility than just any other button. One thing that I wanted to show is that I have a code doc that I made with pretty much everything I know about Flutter. I mean, I try to put as much things on there just to make it easy for me to go back there, for example. And then I can say slash at sume-mcfail slash learning Flutter. And I have basically posted all these different things that I've learned about in Flutter and then just wrote down things about it. For example, I did a lot of the things that, like, for example, gesture detectors, I wrote something about this. A lot of things also have examples. Um, and it can show you a lot of things, like, for example, properties of a certain widget. So these are showing a lot of properties of the circle avatar widget that you can use. And so this is something that I will link in the description. Feel free to check out my Flutter widgets playlist, which I show just different widgets like gesture detector to expand your knowledge of the possibilities in Flutter, since there are so many different widgets, so many different things you can do. That might be helpful to you. For more information on Wequel School and other things, you can go to the website wequel.school. Thanks for watching.